Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Maximize Your Wealth Now. I'm Shirlene Reeves, and I'm really looking forward to our little interview that we're going to do today because it really pertains to entrepreneurs and how we interact with our clients, with our business itself, and how we network. And I think what happens is that we have such a big picture in our minds and such big shoes to fill that we can really get burnout at times and just get completely overwhelmed and sometimes exhausted. I've noticed that a number of the entrepreneurs that I work with are now saying, I can't do so much out in the field. I have to have rest when I need rest. And I'm just exhausted, so I have to recuperate and I can't keep going as fast as I always have. And I want to introduce a specialist to you. And if you are maybe in that position, this might be just what you want to hear for today. So I'd like to introduce Christina Marlin, all the way from Calgary, Canada. Welcome to San Diego, Christina.
Oh, it's so nice and warm here.
I'm so glad to have you with us because I know that you're so good at this and you have great information to share. And as I was reading the little blog that you and I have been working on together, which I hope everybody will read because there will be more information in it. But one of the things Christina was sharing with me is how grudges seem to pull us down. Would you talk to us about that, Christina?
Absolutely. So I am really interested in energy. For a long time, I felt like I didn't have enough. And I tried nutrition. I tried exercise. I tried all the sleep recommendations. And it all helped a little bit. I felt good. But I always still felt like I needed more energy. I'm on a big mission and I wanted to feel alive and excited most, if not all the time. And so I started doing a lot of personal development work. And that's what I'm really interested in now is self-care, going inside to relieve these energy drains that we don't even know that we have. So energetically, whenever we are holding a grudge, whether it's towards ourselves, like being too hard on ourselves, or holding grudges towards others, there is actually an energetic tension. It's pulling on us all the time. It's like being in a tug of war that never ends. And so what I love to help people do is release those energetic tension tug of wars. And what you notice, what I've noticed in my work and with my clients, is that all of a sudden you feel light. You have this energy reserve that you didn't even know was possible because that energetic tension is gone.
You know, that is such a good point, Christina, because I attended a speaking event last night. And she was giving us tips on what our voice might sound like if we are holding those grudges and that tension. And she made such a great point. She said that actually we push people away when we have tension in our voice. Would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. People pick up on that. So if you've got a whole lot of baggage that you're carrying around, like if you could see this energetic tension, it might look like a giant backpack that you're always lugging around. It's going to round your shoulders. It's going to make you feel drained. And people energetically pick up on that. So when we clean up our own backyard, it helps us be able to serve from an even more authentic place with lots and lots of love.
And so would you say that people can, if we're not carrying that around, people even gravitate toward us?
Absolutely. Since I have worked on this freeing of forgiveness practice, I have noticed people saying to me regularly, Christina, I love your energy. I just want to be by you. And I attribute that directly to getting rid of that backpack that I was carrying around.
Wow, that's so awesome. I get that too. Maybe that's because I get rid of it as well. You know, I just can't, I don't want it in my life. I don't surround myself with people that create that. And it makes a really big difference. And that's something that they need to think about too, right?
Absolutely. And if you do have that tension of holding grudges, It's going to make you want to complain more, to play the victim. All of that is so heavy. But when we have forgiven ourselves, which is often the hardest person to forgive,
Yes.
or people who have done stuff to us that actually we have attracted in so that we can learn lessons, then we don't feel the need to complain anymore. We don't need to play the victim. We don't need to get energy that way. We're filled up from the inside out, and then our energy overflows instead of constantly having to do stuff to fill ourselves up.
That's awesome. Wow. I love that. Our energy overflows and we don't have to do things to keep filling ourselves up. I love that, because if we're not carrying around, I used to call mine my little red wagon, because I had so much stuff. I had to put it on wheels. The backpack was way and I've really worked at letting all of that go and forgiving myself for those massive mistakes, because really they're golden nuggets in our life, right?
Absolutely. The Japanese have a form of art called Wabi-Sabi, and it's whenever a ceramic bowl cracks, they fill in the cracks with gold. And that's what forgiveness is. It's filling in those wounds that we have, but with gold. So we turn into something even more valuable and precious and beautiful.
With regard to how to interact with people, how to know if a person is going to bring negativity into your life, is there a way to figure that out ahead of time before? Because I've gotten into relationships. Let's talk about relationships that have really created havoc in my life. And is there some kind of a way to determine whether that person is going to be a problem or not?
Well, one thing that comes to mind is I am an embodiment coach. So I always check into my body first. Our body always tells us the truth. And it's a way to get out of the mind that has all of these, well, maybe this time will be better, or maybe this, maybe that. The body always knows. So in the body, if you can ask your body questions, you can say, hey, I have this person has approached me, and then you imagine spending time with that person. And in your body, you will either notice contraction or expansion. Contraction is a no. It is, don't put yourself in the position to go with this person right now. And expansion, so a contraction, it can be anywhere in your body. For me, I get a lot of sensation right here. If it's tight, if it's uncomfortable, if there's tension, that's a no. I don't need to put myself in contact with that person at that time. But expansion, it feels like stretching. It's a release of tension. It's warm. It's tingly. It has energy to it. And so that is a way that you can find out the truth 100% of the time. Your body will never lie to you.
That's huge, to really listen to your body when you're around somebody, because that crummy energy that comes from some people, you can really feel that.
Yes.
Or when you walk into a room and you go, ooh, have you ever done that? Where you just walk into a room and you go, ugh, this doesn't feel right. Or, right away, if you pay attention to what your senses are telling you.
Yeah. And it takes some practice, but it's a fun way to get curious about it. Well, in a new way where the mind doesn't have to be involved, because the mind, as we all know, can play tricks on us and can come up with all sorts of excuses or what ifs. What if people don't like me anymore because I stopped going to be with them? No, what we need to do is focus on our own approval first, because our intuition guides us. Our body does that through our intuition. And then when we follow that path, we don't even need to figure stuff out. It's just laid out so clearly.
Beautiful. I really like where you're coming from. This is really awesome, Christina. It's beautiful. You made another one of the bullets, if you read the blog that I'm adding to this. Christina mentioned staying too much on the masculine side. What would you explain that a little bit more?
This is one of my favorite things to talk about. So several years ago, as I was going through my personal development journey, I read Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus.
I read that too.
I could not identify at all with Venus. I thought, women are like this? I don't even know what he's talking about.
Who is that?
Yeah. And then I got to the Mars side and I said, oh, this is what I'm familiar with, holding stuff in the cave.
Yes.
And, as I continued along the personal development journey, I did a lot of interesting, fascinating work on discovering my feminine side. So the difference is, if you think of hunter-gatherer, and this work comes a lot from John Gray, who I had the honor of interviewing on my TV show recently, and also Alison Armstrong, two experts in this field. Hunter energy that's the masculine. It's focused, being focused on that goal, not letting any distractions come in, achieving that goal, and then getting a relaxation response.
Mm-hmm.
Gather energy is more like the feminine, a knowledge and a wisdom of all the different stuff that's going on at the same time. You can pay attention to the kids, you can pay attention to the food situation and the health, and all of the community is the gatherer energy. It's very creative, it's very tuned in, lots of intuition and flow. So every human being has that masculine hunter energy and the feminine gather energy. Mm-hmm. What happens in society now is that because we've had the masculine glorified for centuries, the women tend to be more in their masculine side. So if you're someone who makes a list and you check stuff off, and then if we were men, I'm speaking to women here, if women were men, so what happens for men is they make a list of 1, 2, or 3 things, they accomplish what's on that list, and then they feel amazing, like, oh, I should go have a beer on the couch now because I did some yard work.
Yeah.
Men don't understand that, because men, when they accomplish a goal, they get a hormone cascade of relaxation. When women are very goal-oriented and have the blinders on and are tuning out intuition and creativity, we get a stress response. So I've talked to so many women who have the same experience. You make your list, which is like pages long,
yes,
and then you check off stuff. You feel amazing for a moment, but then you're like, oh, there's something else to add to that list. And then it goes on. It's a novel.
Yeah, we don't celebrate.
No. And so that's because when we accomplish a goal, we actually get a stress response. Hormonally, our testosterone goes up, and that has to do with masculine energy. So the question is, how do we get that relaxation response? How can we be in that feminine side more often?
Can I stop you for just 1 minute?
Yeah.
That was very interesting what you said, that when women check something off, we get a stress response. Why is that?
It's because we're in the masculine side, and there's nothing wrong with accomplishing goals as a woman, but we also need to get that relaxation response by nurturing. And the hardest person to nurture is ourselves. That's why
is that why I hear women all the time saying, I have so much to do. I have so much to do. Is that stress response?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Whenever a woman says, I have to, she's in her masculine side. The testosterone is actually going up. And in a woman's body, we do need a little bit of testosterone, but when it's the one that's ruling rather than progesterone and estrogen, we are in stress. The cortisol is being released. It's flowing everywhere. And cortisol is the stress hormone. So what we want to do, instead of saying, I have to, we want to tune into the why. So a great example that I heard from John Gray is, I have to go get my kids. Testosterone is up. We're stressed about it. There's time pressure.
Yeah.
We're thinking of all the other stuff we have to do. Instead, we say, okay, just a moment. That feels really masculine. So why do I want to go get my kids? Oh, I want to go get them because I don't want them sitting on the curb after school all alone wondering where I am. Oh, and I want to go get my kids. Oh, it's because I love them. I'm going to go get my kids because I love them. And then the estrogen and the progesterone go up, the testosterone goes down. When we can tune into the feeling and the love and turn it into a get to instead of a have to, it's so powerful. It really changes everything.
Wow, that's awesome. And so I need to would be right up there with I have to, right?
Yes. And the mind is very programmed. Ever since I heard that, whenever I hear myself or it spills out of my mouth, I have to, oh, wait a sec. I want to, I'm going to, because, and it's reprogramming that tape recorder that we have that we've been using all our lives. I have to.
Yeah. You know what? I think if I didn't love doing what I do as much as I do, I'd feel like I had to do it just to make an income.
Yes.
But I really love to do it.
Yes.
And that feels really good. That really feels good.
Mm-hmm.
I love what you've shared with us. This has just been awesome.
Oh,
So
my pleasure.
we've got to think about, all of us have to think about just the words that we use. I talk about that a lot. The words we use are what we create in our life, actually. So when we have to do something, we're creating that negative in our life then, right?
We're creating a lot of stress for ourselves.
Yeah.
And it's just about being mindful, noticing when we're saying these phrases, noticing how we're feeling in our body. Is about taking a little bit more of a pause. And I just want to say there's nothing wrong with the masculine. We definitely need it. Mm-hmm. What we want to find, though, is this beautiful harmony between the masculine and feminine. So it's like a pendulum. We can swing back and forth. Now I need to get into my masculine side to get this done because it's important and I want to. Mm-hmm. And now I'm going to swing into the feminine side and do something that makes me feel really, really good.
So Christina, this has just been such a pleasure having you with me today. And Christina and I have known each other for quite some time. She's even written for Wealthy Woman magazine, and she's had a beautiful TV show that I've been checking in and out on. And talk about a little bit about your show. How can they see your show?
My show is called The Courageous Self-Care Show, and everything is housed on my website. So that's courageousself-care.com. You can check out the show there and the different offerings that I have to help us get more into the feminine, play with that energy, forgiveness practice that's fun and not hard and heavy. And a lot of the stuff that I do is by getting the body involved, which makes it lighter and faster and transformative for the long term rather than just a quick fix.
Yes, and I'm also adding a link here so that you can go get her special offer. Tell them a little bit about that.
What I wanted to offer, I have two things. So one is a self-care checklist it's a free resource, and we get to check things off, but they're nurturing things. So it's and that masculine and feminine. Yeah. Awesome. And then the other thing I wanted to share with you is I have an online course that's the 7 weeks of courageous self-care. And that is each week there's a 1 hour, it's self-paced, but it's designed so that each week there's a 1 hour teaching. And then for the rest of the week, you get to experiment with the teaching. So there is 1 week where it's getting into the feminine energy and you do this experiment to see if it serves you or not and how you feel at the end of the week. And it's designed so that over the 7 weeks, by the end, you're feeling pretty amazing and living from that overflow.
And I hope all of you will seriously take into consideration what Christina is saying about holding grudges and what that does to your energy and how it brings you down. And the more you talk about that, this is something I talk about, the more you talk about the grudges in your life and the anger that you have around people, the more that comes back to you. So if you've got some painful things in your body that you're trying to deal with, and a lot of times they show up as illness, I want you to know that, then maybe you want to reach out to Christina and have her help you get through these things and shift your energy so that you're feeling more comfortable and you're happy, and you'll do so much better for your business and you'll draw people to you. That's the biggest thing, is people being drawn to you. And then on the bottom of my blog, you've got the link to go get her checklist and have fun with it. And maybe I'll see you out in the field and you'll be radiating. See you soon, everyone. I look forward to it. Bye-bye.
Bye.